Now, according to a study called Perceptions of Retirement Adequacy, women are less ready for retirement than men. This is because for women, the salary gap eventually turns into a retirement savings gap. For more on this, we are joined by financial education commentator and senior marketing manager Lungile Mashigo. Lungile, thank you so much for joining us. Now, retirement for many seems so far away, which is why it's so easy to put it off. But how early should one start planning for retirement?
I think, like you say, we all think that we're not going to retire anytime soon, but one should start saving and planning for retirement as soon as they start working, because the long-term effects of, saving early and the compounding interest thereof will really put you a step ahead when you prepare for your retirement savings.
Right. Now, it's noteworthy that there is a gender retirement gap, which is not exclusive only to South Africa, but it is a global phenomenon. Why does it exist in the first place?
I think historically we've seen, women have entered work in the workplace quite later on, in the past centuries, and a lot of women were not allowed to work. And the moment that they did, the salaries in which they earned versus their male counterparts, there was a big gap in between that. And we've seen that continue over the years. And although in some instances that gap is closing and narrowing down, we're still seeing it today in the workplace where men are earning up to 30 to 35% in some instances more than women for the same kind of job.
And that's quite alarming because we know that sometimes women are not only earning less, but they work less years in order to care for loved ones. And also they are outliving their male counterparts by about 5 to 7 years. What plan of immediate action should they be undertaking in order to close this retirement gap?
I think it's very important for women to really own their financial future. What we've seen in research and studies is that most women leave the caretaking of the finances to the male in the household or even just other male counterparts. And I think it's very important for women to start educating themselves in terms of financial matters so that they can understand the decisions, the financial decisions that they're making on a day-to-day basis, because that does impact them in the long term. Like you've said, women live longer than men and they do save less than men, which means that they are, in most instances, ill-equipped for those longer years. And I think another thing is that women need to get is professional advice. I think in most instances, we don't know how to start saving or investing for our retirement, and getting good advice from a financial planner will help you plan for your exact scenario and for the purposes that you need in future.
Are we seeing differences in how women approach their retirement, those that are heading up their own families as opposed to those that are in relationships or marriages where there's sort of a dependency on the men?
Absolutely. Where there is a dependency, we see that women do not really take charge of their finances in the household and therefore do not save adequately for retirement. And women who are heading up households, because they are heading up those households and do not have anybody to assist them, they end up saving less money for retirement, but because, of course, they have more requirements on their income. So in both instances, we see that women are not really in a favorable position when it comes to finances. But I think, having said that, we're starting to see a lot of young women really take charge of their financial futures. I think millennials are really starting to get involved and are changing the financial education landscape and their own finances at the moment.
Thank you so much for that. That's financial education commentator and senior marketing manager Lungile Mashigo, unpacking why it is that women are lagging behind when it comes to retirement.